dance. Let me see you move.
Love never felt so good. And I died if it ever could. Not like you. Oh.
Hello, everyone, and welcome aboard to Local Matters 2016. It's a brand new year, which translates to new ideas, new adventures, and for Calhoun County, it literally means new bridges, which equals or could equal economic growth. It's a project that's been well underway for more than 10 years or so and is finally finished. We're talking about the Veterans Memorial Parkway. What a great way to begin a new year, especially when it's expected to bring new industries and new jobs. Find out when we come back when those economic floodgates can open. Wonder if it's going to open anytime soon. We'll be right back with more Local Matters. Hello, everyone, and welcome aboard to Local Matters 2016. It's a brand new year, which translates to new ideas, new adventures, and for Calhoun County, it literally means new possibilities for economic growth. Joining me on a set of Local Matters to talk about the completion of the Veterans Memorial Parkway is the Mayor of Anniston, Mayor Vaughn Stewart. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, Donnie. It's great to be
Oh,
back.
it's so good to have the mayor here on my first show for 2016.
Good. Good way to start, putting
Yeah.
Anniston in the focus. We
That's
appreciate
right.
that. But I
Oh.
tell you, I hadn't seen you since Christmas,
I
and you did a
know.
wonderful job
Thank you.
on the day of the Christmas parade
Yeah.
and our performances on the Star.
On the Star.
Yeah. In the Christmas Village. I mean, it was a
Yes.
magical day downtown.
It was.
Big crowd.
It was, and I had my hat on, my little leopard hat.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
That was sort of a last minute
Well,
thing.
you could have been, doing the Macy Day Parade just as well.
No, I came out-
You were dolled up.
Yeah, I came out with the intentions to make it, seem as
Yeah.
though I was in New York.
There. Yeah.
And I see you've got your red and white on.
I do. I tell you, I'm so proud of the Gamecocks and the Crimson Tide.
Gamecocks.
Yeah,
That's
they did
me.
well. They stayed
know.
cocky, and what a wonderful season.
What a wonderful ride for them.
It really was.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
just the players, stepped up to the plate.
They really
and
did.
The coach is tremendous, and
Yeah.
the spirit. It
Right.
really felt. I went to two or three of the games, and the crowds were just outstanding.
Did you go down to Texas?
No, I did not make
okay.
that. No, I find myself staying put. I don't get to. I'm an Alabama alum, but I can't even make it to Tuscaloosa. I
Right.
pretty much stay here.
You
But
said you couldn't even make it to Tuscaloosa.
I really, during football season,
Yeah.
I'll take in the JSU games.
Yes.
And really thoroughly enjoy those.
Right.
But both teams have done so
Yeah,
well, and
yeah.
just very proud of both of them.
Right. Well, speaking of staying local, Mayor, I really wanted you on the show today because to kick off our new year, because we've really had a lot of exciting things happened right along during the holiday season, and so they kind of almost went unnoticed, and people kind of heard about it basically just word of mouth. I live right down the street from the bypass, the Eastern
Right.
bypass or the Veterans Memorial Parkway, and I really wasn't quite sure if it was open or not. It's kind of like they had the cones out there, they're blocked, and then all of a sudden you saw the cones go away, and then I looked up and I saw a few cars moving about up there, and I went, wow, it's open.
Yeah,
And then, of
right.
course, Anniston Star had something about it, but it wasn't a real big hoopla about it just yet.
Well, no, not yet. We'll eventually have a ribbon cutting sometime, probably late winter or springtime. But
Yes.
it is officially open, and it's great news. It's as I've told folks before, even though it's long time coming, it's
Long time, yeah.
never too late for new infrastructure.
Right, it's
Because,
never too late.
I mean, it's huge, and I think because it was rolled out in phases through the several decades, that it's not just one big impact, and people have kind of gotten used to it. But this last phase, connecting it to 431
Yes.
and 21, from a commercial retail standpoint, that is very big.
Right.
And connecting, the former phase was connecting the industrial park, Pappy Dunn Industrial Park, which is at McClellan, which is
Right.
our prime industrial park, to the interstate, to I-20.
Right.
That was big. and from an industrial and economic development standpoint. And then this latest phase is very big for retail commercial.
Right. And speaking of that, you mentioned that we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony. So we will do something big on it. But here's the thing. About 2 years ago, we had the ribbon cutting ceremony. TV 24 was there. And there we go. And there you were. I think you were out there. We had the ribbon cutting ceremony. Just really talked about the finishing touches of the bypass, if you will. And Governor Bentley was here with us, and he had something wonderful to say, because this is what he talked about, or his thoughts, that once it would finish, what it would do for us here in Calhoun County. If we'll go ahead and bring Governor Bentley's soundbite up, because this is what he talked about. He said it was going to be great for us, and so I'm really excited to hear what he had to say. If we do have that soundbite up, I do want to go.
Creating roads like this and building roads like this helps create jobs. You know, infrastructure is so important to creating jobs in the state. And one of the things I think is very important, and one of the things I wanted to do as governor, is we need to complete roads that have already been started. And I told our director of transportation that when I came in office 3 years ago. And this is going to help Anniston so much.
So Governor Bentley, I saw you in the background there. That was 2 years ago. And he really talked about some of the great possibilities that this could do for us.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at Oxford now, and most people realize that didn't just happen overnight. Talk to us about some of the possibilities that this will do for us.
Right. Well, that 2 year segment 2 years ago, that was a groundbreaking, and that's when we shoveled the dirt for the last phase.
That's for the last
Governor
phase.
Bentley was kind enough to come up, and some of the other state officials. But yeah, the impact, the rest of the story for the Parkway is you'll see commercial retail that will take place on the southern end and the northern end. Now, when I speak of the southern end of the Parkway, that is, and I'm speaking of Anniston here, is from, say, the Golden Springs Shopping Center area where MAPCO and Tyson gifts and wines are, and that type of thing, all the way to the Oxford city limits.
Okay, so the southern end of it is that's in Oxford.
No, that's in Anniston. That segment of it that's in Anniston.
Oh, yes, right there, Greenbrier.
Yeah.
Okay.
From Choccolocca and Choccolocca Road all the way down to the Oxford city limits. That's called Golden Springs Road right there.
Okay, good deal. Right, gotcha.
You got Winn-Dixie, you got Dollar General, Walgreens, all that.
Gotcha.
So you do have some pockets in there for commercial retail.
You certainly do in that area, definitely.
And we have interest. And if you put a pin in that area, right in that area, around MAPCO, that is the highest median income area in the whole county, right there. And
I want you to hold it right there, Mayor Vaughn, because we've got to go to break. We're going to come back, because you're right. A lot of room for growth right in that pocket. We'll be right back to talk more about that with the Local Matters. Don't go away. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Local Matters. We're living local. Well, it never felt so good. And it certainly has never felt so good to have joining me here on the set of Local Matters, the Mayor of Anniston, Mayor Vaughn Stewart. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, Dottie.
Yeah,
appreciate the opportunity.
You're so welcome. Before we went to break, we were talking about the whole economic growth for the city of Anniston, for Calhoun County, now that the Veterans Memorial Parkway is up. And of course, most people say, oh, it's time to start building now. But there's a strategic plan to this thing. You just can't start building anywhere. And before we went to break, you were mentioning that right now developers are really going to be looking at which end of the Parkway.
What they're going to look at, and we didn't wait until the Parkway was finished to start this process. 3 years ago, when this new council got to City Hall, we started reaching out through staff to potential developers. And we have created relationships with some really top-notch developers throughout the Southeast. And we've been in constant contact with them, knowing this day was coming. So it wasn't like we just woke up and said, oh, the Parkway's finished and here we go. Now, developers that develop these shopping centers, they're looking at basically creating the best return for their owner investors, and for their retail stores. So it's certain criteria they look at. they look at demographics. They're wanting a household median income within a 3 to 5 mile radius of 50,000 or above.
Okay.
Because you got to have shoppers, you got to have a market.
And so where is that income?
Well,
here in
it's
Anniston?
certainly on the Southern Parkway, and then
Mm-hmm.
some. And
Okay.
before break, I was saying that's one of the highest median income areas in the whole county, right in there.
Really? I wasn't aware of that.
Because
Okay.
it's pulling from East Anniston, Golden Springs, White Plains, Chocolaca,
Wow.
and some of Oxford if you go 3 to 5 miles out. Okay,
Sure.
so that's important. And then on the Northern Parkway, up by Lowe's, as we know.
Okay, right. And that's where I'm living. Okay.
Yeah, and that's very, very attractive, and that's
Okay.
where it's got most of the attention, not because just the median income, but because of the traffic count too. Because you've got people, people don't realize Anniston's a small city by night, but by day we swell. We would come very
It's
large.
funny you're saying that. I don't mean to laugh
Yeah.
because sometimes I'm out there and I'm driving and I'm waiting to pull out and hit, Highway 21, and I'm like, where is all these people coming from?
Well,
yeah.
a lot of people work in Anniston, and we're still the legal, the financial, and the health hub for this whole region. So we'll swell to 30-something thousand by day, and so the traffic count. Those folks have got to go home, so they're going home out the 431 corridor, or they're going home up to Jacksonville, Pleasant Valley, and in Piedmont. Okay, so that really puts that northern corridor, which is the Lowe's area where the Parkway is now finished and empties into 21, into play.
Okay.
We knew that was coming.
Okay.
So we went ahead and started these relationships with the developers, and I can't tell you how many times I've been over that Parkway with that gravel you saw in that last segment in four-wheelers with developers, just during the last 3 years, and showing that to them and this and that. And I can't, get into details because it's all private.
Right, because I'm already want to know who
Well,
which developers.
Anderson learned a long time ago, loose lips sink ships. And,
I like that. Loose lips sink ships. You're right about
and
that.
You just have to be careful. You've got to protect the privacy because these people are putting their money up. And, and there's a time to announce things and there's a time not to say anything.
That's right. Yeah.
And right now, we would just have to be careful. But but anyway, it's very exciting. You've got the Southern Parkway, the Northern Parkway for commercial retail. Right there at McClellan, as I mentioned earlier, you have the Pappy Dunn Industrial Park.
Okay.
The prime industrial park.
Okay.
As far as opportunity in the whole county.
Okay. It's going to be that's right there.
Yeah, it's already there. The council foresaw that the parkway improvements coming. Our first year down there, we got Montgomery to send up a lot of money, and we've completed the Pappy Dunn Industrial Park with curb gutter, lighting. It's very nice. And it's got to be very nice to compete with other industrial parks throughout the state.
Of course. So and in saying that, I don't mean to cut you off, but in saying that means we're still not quite finished because there's a few things that as you just mentioned, lighting, that's not quite finished yet.
Well, the Pappy Dunn Industrial Park is pretty much finished now.
Okay,
the Alabama Gas just opened in the past 2 years their operations center there, and it's very nice.
Okay.
And IEC expanded with 359 new jobs they announced last year, right there at Pappy Dunn.
Okay.
And that's a tier 1 automobile supplier for Honda and Hyundai and on and on and on.
Yes.
And so that's exciting.
Okay.
But so the door is open. We're open for business. We have other space there at the industrial park.
Okay.
Why is the parkway important to industrial recruitment? Well, it ties Pappy Dunn Industrial Park to new markets, Atlanta, Birmingham, Chattanooga, through Interstate 59 and I-20. So that's very important. And so from a commercial retail, as we've already discussed, and from an industrial standpoint, the completion of the parkway is huge. But it's not going to be overnight. And we'll continue working this. But I think the public can expect some new job opportunities, some new retail options in those areas.
Do you think that they can expect to see something maybe in the first 2 years? Because as you mentioned, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're 2 years out. I think surely we'll see commercial retail in the next 2 years.
Okay, we'll see something.
And and I'd always try to temper expectations. We got to remember this is not on the interstate, so you're not going to see a shopping center of the size that we're accustomed to in Oxford that's located on the interstate. That's not going to be there because you just don't have that type of traffic on these other parkways. Okay. And but it will be a lot of nice stores and certainly convenient for those that live in Alexandria, Ohatchee, Weaver, Sachs, etc. And not to mention Jacksonville and Piedmont and Pleasant Valley. So that's very important.
Sure.
You know, we really depend on our Anniston area to grow, and we really do appreciate those residents that may not live in the city limits, but they do patronize our stores, and we very much appreciate that.
Okay. All right. So we've got to go to break again.
Okay.
So we'll be right back with more local matters to talk more about economic growth for the city of Anniston, Calhoun County overall. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Local Matters, where living local never felt so good. It's been a great, great morning sitting here talking with the mayor of Anniston, Mayor Vaughn Stewart, about all of the new possibilities that the bypass is going to bring us. But it's also been good to talk about what has happened for us. For Anniston and for Calhoun County overall as well. And it happened during the month of December. And you know, Mayor, anytime that something happens big for pretty much, I would imagine anywhere during the holidays of the end of November and December, the news can kind of do this, go in one ear, out the other, because people are all fixated on holidays and making travel plans. And so it just sort of just kind of, it goes in one ear and out the other. A lot happened for us.
We
Mayor
did.
Vaughn.
We got some good news.
Let's go back. Yeah, share with us.
Well, just some of the projects we've been working on came to fruition during the holidays. The Kmart project, for instance, which is on the northern end of Quinton.
Yes.
That's been an empty building for a year or two, and so we've got.
It seems like longer too, though.
It really does.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's been about 2 years maybe, and but anyway, we've got a developer on board that, in fact, the council is taking up some considerations about that this week. But anyway, but his expertise, his forte, this particular developer, is to buy old, big retail boxes, such as Kmart. And then he subdivides them into smaller retail stores.
Good.
And that's what his plan is for the Kmart. He's already talked to some retailers. He's got some lined up. I'm not at liberty to say, but I think it will be a good mix for that area.
Yes, I do too.
You're not going to see huge big boxes there, but from a neighborhood shopping standpoint for those residents of North Anniston, Sachs, Weaver, 431, it's huge.
It is huge.
It's convenient. And it's going to complement the Harbor Freight, which we were able to obtain.
Harbor Freight is new.
Open up across the street.
Yeah.
And that's a great shopping center, Harbor Freight's in. And all that's vibrant. And Pickett's, you know, they've got a great store across the street.
It's always busy in there, so that's a good sign.
Pickett's does a good job marketing. And so I think it's all going to be very, very good. So we're excited about that.
Right.
And then we got some great news from Senator Shelby's office. We'd been working with Senator Shelby for the past 3 years since we got to City Hall about the U.S. Courthouse. Now, and a lot of people have forgotten that was even a project.
And I'm one of them, because I'm like, that was a project?
Well, it goes so far back. It goes probably 10 or 12 years ago. But Anniston has been on the list for a new U.S. courthouse for a long period of time.
Oh, that's going to be nice.
And if you remember, the U.S. courthouse downtown is the federal building, which was the old post office at 12th and Noble.
Yes.
And Anniston has been slated to have a new courthouse built for a long, long time. And in which is similar to most federal projects, it takes a while. But while we've been on the list waiting, Tuscaloosa has had their new U.S. courthouse built.
So
Birmingham has had a new one built, or an annex built, and Mobile is about to start construction.
Okay.
Now that's a lot of U.S. courthouses in one state.
Yes.
A new one. So we were
so
very,
now
very happy.
So now we've got the okay?
Yeah, $92 million. This $92 million project will make history in the city of Anniston. It will probably go down as the largest non-transportation project in the history of this city.
Wow.
Huge.
Huge.
And to be downtown Anniston, to serve as an anchor, and take up a block or more downtown.
That's gonna
It's
be
very
nice.
big because, we're trying to build density. We're trying to build
Yes.
more activity in the downtown area. So
Yes.
we're very excited about that, and we appreciate very much Senator Shelby's leadership, Congressman Mike Rogers' leadership in
Yes.
this effort.
Yes,
And if it
definitely.
wasn't for them, but I appreciate the city council. And Dottie, I'll tell you what this goes back to. When you've got a council that's working together,
That's right.
they create an environment where Senator Shelby wants to work with us.
Yes.
If we're dysfunctional and
Right.
we're not working together,
That's right.
then he's got a lot of other cities in the state to choose from.
That's right. That's right.
And same
Nobody wants to work with chaos.
no,
Who?
no.
Yeah.
And same with our, our city staff. If they're business friendly, then you've got a developer like that's coming into the Kmart, and we've got 2 or 3 lined up. They're going to be announced this year that
Wow.
similar to Kmart, but we're just not ready to announce yet. But you've got to have a business friendly environment, and
Yes.
that attracts these developers. But if you don't, that doesn't happen. Same with RMC. We got great
I was
news.
going to say RMC.
Yeah, RMC is announced their plans, and of course, the main mothership is in Anniston. We're a healthcare
Yes.
hub for 5 counties,
Yes.
and we want to keep that. And that Calhoun County serves the other counties around us for healthcare, and Stringfellow plays a part as well. But RMC announced a $34 million capital improvement project.
Wow. And I know they started already on the emergency room area in there.
That is not even including the emergency room,
Right.
which is they're going to do all new OR suites, operating room
Wow.
suites, new ICU wing, $34 million, and then in addition, they're going to spend money down here in Oxford, which is great
I'm so happy.
for
so
the new
proud for
clinic
us.
down here. But we're very proud of RMC. That's our largest employer in the city limits.
In the city limits, right.
Healthcare is huge.
It is huge.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
makes you want to just go build a healthcare magnet.
Makes me
school.
want to go and be in the hospital. No, just kidding.
No. We won't go that far. But healthcare, the options for young people,
Yes,
as
yes.
far as education. We have a healthcare class at Anniston High School. And we're fortunate enough that David Satcher, the former U.S. Surgeon General, was here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I got a chance to
for
meet him at the parade,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, the day before I had him at RMC, and we had a public health symposium.
Yes.
And we brought 34 of our students from Anniston High over for the symposium.
Wow.
Now, you can imagine they were in the wow
Yes.
stage because there they are with a former U.S. Surgeon General
Yes.
learning all this about health care. But we've got a
Sure.
wonderful opportunity. That's an asset.
Yes,
That's
it
a
is.
strength.
That is.
And just like McClellan is, so is healthcare, and we've got to build upon that.
Oh my gosh. You know what, Mayor Vaughn? I could sit here and talk with you all morning long because there's so many other areas I want to talk
Right.
about that we just don't have time.
I know.
So perhaps you can come back
Love
and
to.
do a second Local Matters with me, Local Matters 2, where we'll talk about more about housing and things
Yeah.
of that nature.
Good,
We can
love
talk
to.
about the Amtrak and the
Right,
economic hub
right,
there, so much
right.
more.
Yeah.
So I look to have you back on Local Matters, but it certainly was great having you here the first of the year, and it certainly is always good to have you join me here on Local Matters. So we've got to go now, but we'll see you back next week. Bye now.